Commander Vextar stood at the main viewing screen of the Imperial Command Station. The massive station floated in space above Nexus Prime, the capital world of the Zephyrian Empire. Stars filled the dark sky like tiny diamonds. For 300 years, the Empire had ruled this part of the galaxy. Nothing had ever challenged their power. The alarm bells rang through the station. Red lights flashed on every wall. Vextar's long blue fingers moved quickly across the control panel. His 4 eyes focused on the incoming reports. Something was wrong. Very wrong. "Sir, we have a problem," said Lieutenant Ziegmer, rushing to his commander's side. The young officer's green skin was pale with fear. "The Outer Rim patrol ships are sending emergency signals." Vextar read the reports on his screen. His eyes grew wide. "This cannot be right. Check the sensors again." "I checked them 3 times." "Sir, the readings are correct." Ziegmer's voice shook. "Unknown ships are moving toward our space. They came from the void beyond the star maps. The void. No one went to the void. It was the empty space between galaxies where nothing lived. Nothing could live there. The Empire's greatest scientists had proven this fact long ago. Yet the sensors showed dozens of ships moving from that dark place." "How many ships?" Vextar asked. 57 vessels, sir. They move in perfect formation. Their technology is ... strange." Vextar studied the sensor readings. The ships were not like anything in the Empire's databases. They were sleek and smooth, with no visible weapons or engines. Yet they moved faster than anything the Empire had ever built. They seemed to dance through space like living things. "Send word to Admiral Kreolok," Vextar ordered. "Tell him we need a battle group at the Outer Rim, now." Meanwhile, far from the Imperial station, Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty. The ship was the largest vessel in the human fleet. Its white hull gleamed under the light of distant stars. Jake was a tall man with brown hair and calm blue eyes. He had waited 20 years for this moment. "Amy, what's our position?" he asked. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez looked up from her control station. She was a young woman with black hair and sharp, dark eyes. "We're 3 hours from the Empire's border, Captain. All ships are ready." "Good. Ben, how are our systems?" "Commander." Ben Carter turned from his engineering station. He was a big man with red hair and strong hands. "All systems are working perfectly, sir. The new engines are running smooth. The phase shields are at full power." Jake nodded. The phase shields were humanity's greatest invention. They allowed ships to become invisible to enemy sensors. They could even let ships pass through solid objects like ghosts. The Empire had never seen anything like them. "Captain," Amy said, "I'm picking up Imperial ships on the sensors." "Looks like they're coming to meet us." Jake smiled. "Let them come. It's time they learned that humanity has returned." The human fleet had been gone from known space for 300 years. The Empire had driven them out after the Great War. Back then, humans had been weak. Their ships were slow, and their weapons were simple. The Empire had crushed them easily, but the humans had not died in the void. They had learned. They had grown stronger. They had built new ships and new weapons. They had developed technologies that would make the Empire's greatest scientists weep with envy. "Sir," Amy reported, "the Imperial fleet is approaching. 12 heavy cruisers and 2 battleships. They're trying to contact us." "Put them on screen," Jake ordered. The main screen flickered to life. Admiral Kreolok's ugly face appeared. His gray skin was covered in scars from old battles. His 6 eyes glowed with anger. "Unknown vessels," the Admiral growled in the common galactic language. "You are entering Imperial space without permission. Identify yourselves or be destroyed." Jake stepped forward. He spoke in perfect Imperial language, surprising the Admiral. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the human fleet. We seek safe passage through your space." Kreolak's eyes grew wide. "Humans? Impossible. Your species was wiped out centuries ago. We are very much alive, Admiral. And we have business in this part of the galaxy." The Admiral's face turned red with rage. "You dare speak to me with such boldness? I will crush your pathetic ships like insects." "I don't think so," Jake said calmly. "Amy, show them what we can do." Amy's fingers danced across her controls. The human ships suddenly vanished from the Imperial sensors. One moment they were there, the next they were gone. The Imperial fleet spun in circles, searching for enemies they could not see. "Where did they go?" Kreolak screamed at his officers. "We don't know, sir. They just disappeared." The human ships reappeared behind the Imperial fleet. They had moved through space like ghosts, passing through the Emperor's ships without being detected. The Imperial crews panicked. Their most advanced sensors had failed completely. "Surrender now." Jake's voice came through the communication system. "Your ships are already defeated. We could have destroyed you all, but we chose not to. This is your only warning." Admiral Kreolak stared at his screens in shock. The human ships had somehow appeared behind his fleet without being seen. His most powerful weapons were useless against enemies he could not track. "This is impossible," he whispered. "No, Admiral," Jake replied. "This is just the beginning. The humans have returned, and the galaxy will never be the same." The Imperial fleet retreated in fear and confusion. For the first time in 3 centuries, the mighty Zephyrian Empire had been defeated without firing a single shot. The mysterious human Armada had shaken the very foundations of galactic power, and they were just getting started. Emperor Thrall Lanix sat on his crystal throne in the great palace of Nexus Prime. The tall ruler's purple skin was darker than usual, a sign of his deep worry. His golden crown felt heavy on his head as he listened to the reports from his military commanders. "The humans have returned, Your Majesty," Admiral Kreolak said, his voice shaking. "Their ships are unlike anything we have ever seen. They can become invisible to our sensors. They can move through space faster than our fastest vessels." The Emperor's red eyes glowed with anger. "How is this possible? Our scientists told us that humans were a weak species. We defeated them easily 300 years ago. They have changed, Your Majesty. They have new technology. Technology that makes our weapons useless." General Mortek, the Empire's top military leader, stepped forward. He was a massive creature with thick armor covering his body. "Your Majesty, we must attack them with everything we have. If we use our entire fleet, we can crush them with pure numbers." "No," said Science Minister Velara, a thin woman with silver skin. "We need to understand their technology first. If we attack blindly, we might lose our entire fleet." The Emperor raised his hand for silence. "How many ships do they have?" 57 that we can see, Your Majesty," Kreolak replied. "But there might be more hidden in the void." 57 ships against our 1,000,000-ship fleet? The Emperor laughed, but the sound was not happy. "Yet you ran from them like frightened children." Kreolak's face turned red with shame. "Your Majesty, you do not understand. These ships are not normal. They can appear and disappear at will. Our weapons cannot lock onto them." Meanwhile, aboard the USS Liberty, Captain Jake Morrison met with his senior officers in the main conference room. The room was simple but comfortable, with a large table in the center and chairs for 12 people. "The Empire is scared," Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez reported. "Their communication networks are buzzing with panic. They're calling emergency meetings and moving fleets from across the galaxy." Dr. Lisa Thompson, the fleet's chief scientist, looked up from her tablet. She was a woman in her 40s, with gray hair and kind eyes. The phase technology is working perfectly. Their sensors can't detect us when we're in ghost mode. What about their weapons? Asked Commander Ben Carter. Useless. Against our shields, Lisa replied. Our ships can phase through their energy beams like they're not even there. Colonel Ryan Hayes, the fleet's diplomatic officer, leaned forward. He was a serious man with a neat beard and careful eyes. Captain, we need to make contact soon. The longer we wait, the more time they have to prepare. Jake nodded. I agree. But we need to be smart about this. The Empire has ruled this galaxy for centuries. They won't give up their power easily. What do you suggest? Amy asked. We arrange a meeting. Show them that we're not here to conquer them. We're here to save them. Ryan frowned. Save them from what? They don't know about the Devourers yet. They will learn soon enough, Jake said quietly. The Void creatures are following our trail. They'll reach this galaxy within a year. The Devourers were humanity's greatest nightmare. They were creatures from outside normal space that ate entire star systems. They had chased humanity across the void for 3 centuries, destroying everything in their path. The humans had learned to run and hide, but they could not run forever. The Empire has resources we need, Jake continued. Their shipyards, their raw materials, their manpower. If we can convince them to work with us, we might have a chance against the Devourers. Dr. Thompson nodded. Our ships are advanced, but there are too few of us. The Empire has billions of people and millions of ships. Together, we might be able to stop the Devourers. First, we need to get their attention, Jake said. Ryan, send a message to the Emperor. Tell him we want to meet. 3 days later, the meeting took place on Station Omega, an old trading post in the empty space between star systems. The station had been abandoned for 50 years, but it still had power and air. It was the perfect neutral ground. Jake arrived with a small team. Amy Rodriguez came as his tactical officer. Ryan Hayes would handle the talking. Dr. Thompson brought her scientific equipment. Commander Carter stayed aboard the Liberty, ready to rescue them if needed. The Imperial delegation was larger. Emperor Thralanex came in person, something that shocked his advisors. He brought Admiral Kreolok, General Mortek, and a dozen guards. Their ship was 10 times larger than the human shuttle dot. The 2 groups met in the station's main conference room. The humans sat on one side of the long table. The Imperials sat on the other side. The guards stood along the walls, their weapons ready. So, the Emperor said, his voice deep and commanding, the humans have returned from the dead. How interesting. Jake stood up slowly. He was much smaller than the Emperor, but his presence filled the room. Your Majesty, we appreciate you agreeing to meet with us. I came to see what magic you use to make your ships invisible, the Emperor replied. My scientists are very curious. Our technology is not magic, Jake said calmly. It is science. Science that we developed during our long exile in the void. The void is empty, General Mortek growled. Nothing can live there. We learned to live there, Jake replied. We had no choice. Your empire drove us out. We adapted or died. The Emperor leaned forward. What do you want, human? Why have you returned? Jake met his eyes without fear. We want to save this galaxy from destruction. From what destruction? Admiral Kreolok asked. From the Devourers. They are coming, and they will destroy everything in their path. The Imperial leaders looked at each other with confusion. They had never heard of the Devourers. These Devourers, the Emperor said slowly. What are they? Dr. Thompson activated her tablet. A holographic image appeared above the table. It showed a massive creature made of dark energy. The creature was eating a star, draining its light and life. They are beings from outside our reality, she explained. They consume entire star systems. They have been chasing humanity for 3 centuries, and now they are almost here. The room fell silent. The Imperial leaders stared at the image with growing horror. How long do we have? The Emperor asked quietly. 1 year, Jake replied. Maybe less. They follow the energy trails left by our ships. They know we're here. And you think we can stop them? General Mortak laughed harshly. If your advanced ships cannot defeat them, how can our simple vessels succeed? Together, Jake said simply. Your numbers and our technology. It's the only way. The Emperor stood up. His great height made him tower over the humans. You ask us to trust you. But 3 centuries ago, you were our enemies. Why should we believe you now? Jake looked directly into the Emperor's red eyes. Because if we don't work together, we will all die. The Devourers don't care about our past wars. They will eat human. And Imperial worlds alike. The meeting continued for hours. The humans shared their knowledge of the Devourers. They showed videos of destroyed star systems and explained how the creatures hunted. The Imperial leaders listened with growing fear. Finally, the Emperor spoke. We will consider your proposal, but first we need proof. Show us these Devourers exist. Jake nodded. You will have your proof soon enough. I only hope it won't be too late. As the 2 groups prepared to leave, the Emperor approached Jake privately. Captain Morrison, if these creatures are real, what chance do we have? A small one, Jake replied honestly. But it's better than no chance at all. The Emperor stared out the station's window at the stars. I have ruled this galaxy for 200 years. I have never faced a threat like this. Neither have we, Jake said. But we've learned that sometimes the greatest enemies can become the strongest allies. The Emperor nodded slowly. We shall see, Captain. We shall see. 2 weeks after the meeting at Station Omega, Emperor Thrallinix grew tired of waiting. The human ships still floated at the edge of Imperial space, neither attacking nor leaving. His military advisors whispered that the Emperor looked weak for not destroying them. Your Majesty, General Mortak said during the morning war council, we cannot let these humans mock our power. Our people are losing faith in our strength. Admiral Krielak nodded eagerly. Sir, I have assembled our finest battle group. The dreadnought Eternal Dominion leads 50 of our best ships. We can surround the human fleet and force them to surrender. Science Minister Valara shook her head. This is foolish. We still don't understand their technology. An attack could be a disaster. They have only 57 ships, the general argued. We have 50 ships in the battle group alone. Even if their technology is advanced, we can overwhelm them with numbers. The Emperor sat quietly on his throne, thinking. His advisors had been arguing for hours. Half wanted to attack the humans immediately. The other half wanted to study them first. The Emperor was tired of the debate. Very well, he said finally. Admiral Krielak, take your battle group to the human fleet. Show them our power. But do not attack unless they attack first. I want them to see that we are not afraid. The Admiral smiled with cruel satisfaction. Yes, Your Majesty. They will learn to fear the Empire's might. Meanwhile, aboard the USS Liberty, Captain Jake Morrison watched the approaching Imperial fleet on his main screen. The ships were impressive, especially the massive dreadnought that led them. But Jake was not worried. 51 ships, Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez reported. The big one is twice the size of our largest vessel. They're moving into attack formation. Are they powering weapons? Jake asked. Not yet, sir. But their shields are up, and their targeting systems are active. Commander Ben Carter looked up from his engineering station. Captain, the phase generators are ready. We can ghost the entire fleet in 30 seconds. Dr. Lisa Thompson studied her sensor readings. Their technology is impressive for conventional physics, but they're still thinking in 3 dimensions. They don't understand how we move through folded space. Jake nodded. Amy, open a channel to the Imperial fleet. The main screen flickered to life. Admiral Kreolak's scarred face appeared, his 6 eyes glowing with arrogance. Human captain, the Admiral growled, you are surrounded. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. The Emperor wishes to examine your ships. Jake smiled calmly. Admiral, I suggest you reconsider. This demonstration will not go as you expect. Are you threatening me? Kreolak's voice rose with anger. I have 51 ships. You have only 57. Numbers don't mean much when you can't hit your target, Jake replied. Amy, show the Admiral what we can do. Amy's fingers danced across her control panel. The entire human fleet vanished from the Imperial sensors. One moment they were there. The next they were gone. The Imperial ships spun in circles, searching for enemies they could not see. Where did they go? Kreolak screamed at his officers. Unknown, sir. They just disappeared. Find them. Use every sensor we have. But the Imperial sensors found nothing. The human ships had phased out of normal space, existing in a dimension the Empire's science could not detect. Aboard the Liberty, Jake watched the Imperial fleet's confusion with satisfaction. Now for the real demonstration. Amy, take us inside. Their formation. Yes, sir. The human ships moved like ghosts through the void. They passed through the Imperial vessels as if they were made of smoke. The phase technology allowed them to exist in the same space as the Imperial ships without touching them. Ben, Jake ordered, activate the ghost mines. Commander Carter pressed a series of buttons. Throughout the star system, invisible devices materialized around the Imperial fleet. The mines existed partially outside normal space, making them undetectable to conventional sensors. Mines deployed, sir. The Imperial fleet is completely surrounded. Jake opened the communication channel again. His voice came from speakers throughout the Imperial fleet, though they still could not see his ships. Admiral Kreolak, you are now surrounded by 50,000 ghost mines. Each one carries enough antimatter to destroy a battleship. They are invisible to your sensors and immune to your weapons. Kreolak's face turned pale. Impossible. Our sensors would detect any mines. Your sensors can only see things that exist in normal space, Jake explained. Our mines exist in folded space. They are there, but not there. Real, but not real. To prove his point, Jake ordered one mine to become visible. It appeared directly in front of the Eternal Dominion's bridge, a small sphere of dark metal floating. In space, the Imperial crew stared at it in shock. This is just one mine, Jake continued. There are thousands more around your fleet. We could destroy every ship you have, but we choose not to. The mine vanished again, disappearing into folded space. The Imperial fleet was completely helpless, surrounded by weapons they could not see or fight. Now, Jake said, let me show you our ships. The human fleet reappeared, but not where the Imperials expected. They materialized inside the Imperial formation, perfectly positioned between the enemy vessels. The USS Liberty sat directly above the Eternal Dominion, close enough to ram it. How did you get there? Kreolak whispered. We flew through your ships, Jake replied simply. Phase technology allows us to pass through solid matter like it's empty space. Your hulls, your armor, your shields, they mean nothing to us. The Imperial crews panicked. Their enemies had appeared inside their formation without warning. Worse, the human ships seemed to be occupying the same space as their own vessels, a feat that should have been impossible. Admiral, one of Kreolak's officers reported, Our weapons cannot lock onto their ships. They keep phasing in and out of our reality. And even if you could hit us, Jake added, your energy beams would pass right through us. We exist in folded space, remember? Your weapons only work in normal space. To demonstrate, one of the Imperial ships fired a plasma cannon at the nearest human vessel. The bright blue beam passed through the ship like it was made of air. The human vessel was completely unharmed. Impressive, Jake said, but now let us show you what our weapons can do. The human ships fired their own weapons, but these were different. Instead of energy beams, they used gravitational pulse cannons. The weapons reached through folded space and struck the Imperial ships directly. The Eternal Dominion shook as invisible forces tore through its shields. Systems failed throughout the massive ship, but the weapons were set to disable, not destroy. The Imperial fleet found itself helpless, their shields down and their weapons offline. Your ships are now defenseless, Jake announced. We could destroy you all, but we choose mercy. This is our gift to you, the knowledge that your empire is not as strong as you believe. Admiral Kreolok stared at his dead control panels. His mighty battle group had been defeated without landing a single hit on the enemy. The humans had proven their superiority completely. What do you want? He asked quietly. We want you to understand the truth, Jake replied. Your empire faces a threat that will destroy everything you have built. These devourers I told you, Emperor about, they are real, and they are coming. When they arrive, your conventional weapons will be useless. Only our technology can stop them. And why should we trust you? Kreolok asked. Because we just proved that we could destroy your entire fleet, but we chose not to. If we wanted to conquer your empire, we would have done it already. We're here to save you, not rule you. The communication channel went silent. The Imperial fleet sat helpless in space, surrounded by invisible mines and ghostly ships. For the first time in 3 centuries, the mighty empire had been utterly defeated. Admiral, Jake said finally, take this message to your emperor. Tell him that the humans offer alliance, not conquest. Tell him that we have the technology to save this galaxy, but we need his help. And tell him that time is running out. The ghost mines vanished. The human ships phased back to normal space, becoming visible again. They formed up in perfect formation and began moving away from the Imperial fleet. Wait, Kreolok called out. How do we know you're telling the truth about these devourers? Jake's face appeared on the screen one last time. Because, Admiral, they're already here. Check your deep space sensors. The first scout ships entered this galaxy 3 days ago. The human fleet vanished, leaving the Imperial ships alone in space. Admiral Kreolok immediately ordered his sensor operators to scan the outer rim. What they found made his blood run cold. Unknown ships were moving through the void at the edge of the galaxy. Ships that looked like the creatures Dr. Thompson had shown them at Station Omega. The Devourers had arrived. Get me the Emperor, Kreolok ordered. Emergency priority. Tell him the humans were telling the truth. Tell him we need to talk. 4. The first time in his life, the proud Admiral felt truly afraid. The galaxy was about to face its greatest threat, and only their former enemies could save them. Emperor Thralanex stood in his private chambers, staring out at the city below. The great capital of Nexus Prime stretched to the horizon, its crystal towers gleaming in the light of 3 suns. For 3 centuries, this had been the center of galactic civilization. Now it might all be destroyed. The emergency session of the Imperial War Council had been going on for 6 hours. The Emperor's advisors argued back and forth, their voices growing louder with each passing minute. Some wanted to fight the Devourers with everything they had. Others wanted to flee to distant galaxies. A few brave souls suggested working with the humans. Your Majesty, General Mortek said, his massive fists pounding the table. "We cannot trust these humans. They were our enemies 300 years ago. They will be our enemies again." "But they could have destroyed Admiral Krialak's fleet," Science Minister Valara pointed out. "They chose not to. That suggests they really do want to help us. Or it suggests they're playing a long game," the general replied. "Maybe they want us to lower our guard so they can strike when we're weak." Admiral Kriolak shifted uncomfortably in his chair. The defeat of his battle group still stung his pride. "General, I saw what their ships can do. If they wanted to conquer US, they wouldn't need tricks. They could simply appear in our capital system and disable our entire fleet." "Then why don't they?" asked Defense Minister Groktar. "If they're so powerful, why do they need our help?" The Emperor raised his hand for silence. "Because they're telling the truth about the Devourers. Show them the reports." Science Minister Valara activated the holographic display in the center of the room. Images appeared showing the outer rim of the galaxy. Dark shapes moved through, space like living shadows. They were massive, each one the size of a small moon. 3 days ago, these creatures entered our galaxy, she explained. They matched the descriptions the humans gave us. They seem to be made of some kind of dark energy that our sensors can barely detect. "How many?" the Emperor asked. 12 so far, but our deep space monitors show more coming. Hundreds more." The room fell silent. Even General Mortak stopped, arguing as he stared at the images. "What do they want?" Defense Minister Groktar asked quietly. "According to the humans, they want to eat everything," Valara replied. "They consume stars, planets, entire star systems. They turn matter into energy and feed on it." "And our weapons?" Admiral Kriolak asked, though he already knew the answer. "Useless. These creatures exist partially outside normal space, just like the human ships. Our conventional weapons can't touch them." The Emperor turned back to the window. Below, millions of people went about their daily lives, unaware that their entire civilization was in danger. Children played in the parks. Workers hurried to their jobs. Families gathered for meals. All of it could be gone within a year. "Your Majesty," General Mortak said more quietly, "even if we work with the humans, what guarantee do we have that they can stop these things? They've been running from the Devourers for 3 centuries. If they could defeat them, why didn't they do it already?" It was a good question. The Emperor had been wondering the same thing. Meanwhile, aboard the USS Liberty, Captain Jake Morrison met with his senior staff to discuss the same problem. The ship's conference room was filled with tension as they debated their next move. "The Emperor is smart," Colonel Ryan Hayes said. "He's going to ask why we haven't defeated the Devourers already. What do we tell him?" "The truth," Jake replied. "We weren't strong enough before. We had to run and hide. But now we have a chance to make a stand." Dr. Lisa Thompson looked up from her tablet. "The Empire's industrial capacity is enormous. They have shipyards in 1,000 star systems. If we can adapt our technology to their ships, we can build a fleet large enough to fight the Devourers. But will it work?" Commander Ben Carter asked. "Our phase technology is incredibly complex. It took us decades to develop it. Can we teach it to Imperial engineers in a few months?" "We have to try," Jake said. "It's our only chance." Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez frowned. "Captain, there's something else we need to consider. The Devourers aren't just following us randomly. They're hunting. US specifically. They want something from humanity." Jake nodded grimly. "I know. The question is, what do they want?" Dr. Thompson had been studying this question for years. "I think they want our minds, our ability to think and create. The Devourers are creatures of pure energy, but they lack imagination. They can only consume and destroy. They can't create anything new. So they need us to create new things for them to consume? Carter asked. Exactly. That's why they've been chasing us across the void. They need our creativity, our ability to build and grow. Without us, they would eventually run out of things to eat. Which means they'll never stop hunting us, Jake said, unless we find a way to stop them first. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent message from the bridge. Amy rushed to her station and read the report. Captain, we're receiving a communication from the Imperial Fleet. Emperor Thrallin X wants to meet with you again. He says it's urgent. Jake stood up. Set up the meeting. Same place as before, Station Omega. But this time, we're going to tell them everything. 2 days later, the second meeting began. The conference room at Station Omega was more crowded this time. The Emperor had brought his entire war council. Jake had brought his senior staff and several of his best scientists. Captain Morrison, the Emperor began, my people have many questions. But first, I want to know why you haven't defeated these devourers already. You've had 3 centuries to develop weapons against them. Jake had expected this question. Because we were too few, Your Majesty. Humanity lost 90% of its population in the first devourer attack. We've been rebuilding ever since. But slowly. We needed time to develop the technology and train our people. But now you think you can win? General Mortuck asked suspiciously. Not alone, Jake admitted. But together with the Empire, we have a chance. Your shipyards can build thousands of ships. Your population can provide millions of crew members. Our technology can make those ships effective against the devourers. Emperor Thrallin X leaned forward. And what do you want in return? A place to call home, Jake replied simply. We're tired of running. We want to settle down, to build cities and raise families. We want to be part of galactic civilization again. The Emperor studied Jake's face for a long moment. You're asking me to trust you with the fate of my empire. Why should I believe that you won't turn on us once the devourers are defeated? Because, Dr. Thompson spoke up, we're not the same humans you fought 3 centuries ago. We've learned the value of cooperation. We've seen what happens when species fight each other instead of working together. The devourers destroyed hundreds of civilizations, Jake added. We found the ruins of their worlds scattered across the void. All of them made the same mistake. They fought each other instead of uniting against the real threat. Science Minister Velara nodded thoughtfully. Our scientists have been studying your technology. The phase drives, the gravitational weapons, the ghost mines, they're all incredibly advanced. But they're also incredibly complex. How long would it take to teach our engineers to build them? 6 months, maybe 8, Commander Carter replied. But we'd need to work closely with your people. Share everything we know. And if we refuse? Admiral Kreolok asked. Jake's expression grew serious. Then we'll do what we've always done. We'll run. We'll take our ships and disappear into the void. You'll never see us again. And the devourers? The Emperor asked. We'll destroy your empire in less than a year, Jake said bluntly. They'll eat every star in this galaxy and move on to the next one. Your people will die. Your civilization will be forgotten, and the devourers will continue their endless hunger. The room fell silent. The weight of the decision pressed down on everyone present. The fate of 2 civilizations hung in the balance. Finally, the Emperor spoke. Captain Morrison, you ask for a great leap of faith. You want us to trust our former enemies with our most advanced technology. You want us to work together as equals. Yes, Your Majesty. And if we do this, if we commit everything to this alliance, what guarantee do we have that it will work? Jake met the Emperor's gaze without flinching. None. There are no guarantees in war. But I can promise you this. We will fight with everything we have. We will not run this time. We will make our stand here, in this galaxy, beside your people." The Emperor stood up slowly. His great height made him tower over everyone in the Thea room. "And we have a choice to make. We can trust each other, or we can die separately." He extended his hand to Jake. "Captain Morrison, the Zephyrian Empire accepts your alliance. May the stars have mercy on us all." Jake shook the Emperor's hand. "Thank you, Your Majesty. Now the real work begins." As the two leaders sealed their pact, neither of them noticed the shadows moving at the edge of the star system. The Devourers had found